Hello friends! Today you'll see how actors of the movie The Godfather have changed. You'll know their original names and age. I will show you how they looked then in 1972 and what's with them now in 2021. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's go! Michael Corleone was a young man in his mid-20s. He is the strongest of the Corleone family. Though originally he wanted nothing to do with the family business, but he was quickly pulled in after the assassination attempt on his father. Michael is portrayed by Al Pacino. Tom Hagen, Robert Duvall, was the consigliere and head lawyer of the Corleone family, as well as being the adopted son of Vito Corleone. Tom wielded immense power within the Corleone family under Vito. His cunning and diplomacy has always been a valuable asset. Kay Adams, Diane Keaton, was the long-term girlfriend, then second wife of Michael Corleone. She is a school teacher by profession and the mother of Anthony and Mary Corleone. As non-Italian, she was symbolized Michael's initial desire to live a more Americanized life. Connie, Talia Shire, is the youngest child and only daughter of Vito and Carmela Carlioni. She was a twin, but her father died in the womb, something that only the closest members of the Corleone family knew about, as well as her godfather, Don Osvaldo Altobello. Peter Clemenza, Richard S. Castellano, became known as a suave yet violent presence in the neighborhood, ruthless in the protection of his property and his businesses. Clemenza became a friend of Vito Corleone after Vito immigrated from Sicily to the United States. Carlo Rizzi, Gianni Russo, a half-northern Italian, half-Sicilian, former laborer, Carlo migrated to New York City following trouble with the law and became a friend of Sonny Corleone, through whom he met Sonny's sister, Connie. A little bit later, they were married. Emilio Barzini, Richard Conte, was the head of the Barzini crime family. He is one of the 5 families operating in New York. He had the most modern mind out of all the 5 families' dons, due to his comparative youth experience in the current age of organized crime. Carmela Carlioni, Morgana King, was the wife of Don Vito Corleone and mother of Sonny, Frido, Michael, and Connie Corleone, as well as the adoptive mother of Tom Hagen. She married Vito Corleone at the age of 16. They both occupied a small apartment in the Bronx. Mark McCloskey, Sterling Hayden, was a corrupt Irish-American police captain in the service of the Tattaglia family and Virgil Salozzo, but he ostensibly worked for the police chief. McCloskey served 20 years on the force, and at first, he was an honest and tough cop. Jack Woltz was a Jewish movie producer who had achieved mild success in the film industry. Having come up from nothing, eventually went on to found Waltz International Pictures, which grew into one of the biggest studios in Hollywood. He is portrayed by John Marley. Greeny, Alex Rocco, was a renowned Jewish mobster and former executioner for Murder Incorporated, credited with the development of Las Vegas into a gambling and entertainment mecca, bringing the interests of the most powerful organized crime organizations in the US. Sartori Cassio, played by Abe Vigoda, was one of Don Vito Corleone's most trusted friends and caporegents, ruling over the Corleone family's territory in Brooklyn. Cassio was a smooth and savvy enforcer, who many of the junior members of the family saw as a mentor. Frido, John Cazale, was the second child of Vito and Carmela Carlioni. In his youth, he was a sickly child, contracting pneumonia as a baby. Frido was the weakest and least intelligent of the Corleone brothers. His own brother, Michael, dismissed him as weak and stupid. Virgil Philosopher, El Lettieri, known as the Turk because he had a nose like a Turkish scimitar, and also listed as being very good with a knife. Philosopher had already gained a reputation as a top narcotics man with poppy fields in Turkey and laboratories in Sicily. Johnny Fontaine, played by Al Martino, was the godson of Don Vito Corleone and a famous singer. Johnny was a childhood friend to the children of Don Vito Corleone as well. With the subtle help of his godfather, Vito Corleone was able to break into show business. Luca Brasi, Lenny Montana, was Vito Corleone's personal enforcer. Fluent in Italian and able to handle himself in any fight, he had a dark reputation among the underworld as a savage killer. He was also wise as he brought a bulletproof vest with him everywhere. Paulie Gatta, played by John Martina, was one of Clemence's made men, his personal right-hand man and personal driver to Vito Corleone, a job he shared with the Don's son Frido. If he had not turned traitor, he probably would have risen through the ranks quickly. Sandra Corleone, Julie Gregg, was the wife of Santina Caruso and mother to 4 of his children, Catherine, Francesca, Frank, and Santina Jr. Most of her family, including her mother and father, died before or during her early childhood due to an earthquake. Apollonia Vitelli, Simonetta Stefanelli, was a young Sicilian woman and Michael Corleone's first wife. When she started the car to drive towards Michael, she unknowingly ignited a bomb planted in the car, intended for him. The subsequent explosion killed her instantly. Santina Caruso, played by James Caan, was the oldest, most impulsive and violent of Vito's sons, and before Michael's rise to power, the most involved in the Corleone crime family. It was he who was supposed to head the family business after the death of Vito. Vito Corleone, Marlon Brando, was the founder and don of the Corleone family. In an underworld full of ruthless mob bosses who preferred to be feared, Vito Corleone's reputation for compassion and generosity meant that people were more willing to deal with the Corleones. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please share it on social networks, like it, and of course subscribe to the channel.